Hello. I am so happy to be back making videos with you guys. I know you guys been wondering where I've been. I've been working on my goals, accomplishing things, and I am so excited to bring you back information of different things that I've learned. And today I want to talk about how to, you know, assert yourself. As the world is becoming more aggressive, people are becoming more entitled, people are becoming more rude, and I've noticed this. And I've noticed how I have to protect myself to kind of keep up with the way society is going. So I want to talk about how speaking up is so important, but nowadays speaking up as a feminine woman who may be soft spoken, who may be perceived as gullible, nice, naive, it's not enough just to speak up. So we not only have to speak up, but we do have to reiterate our boundaries. Because in 2025, I met people who, and in 2024, honestly, my whole life, I've met people who had the audacity to try and push against your boundaries. And every time I reiterate what I stood for, and I met them with no, 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 no. So it's kind of so crazy to me. And I start to think, like, why are these people like this? What makes them so entitled? What makes them so rude? What makes them so, like, have such disregard for certain people's autonomy and boundaries? And so, but I don't want to get caught up on the why, because I start to try to think what they're thinking, and that brings me down to such a level to where I get scared and stuck in this mental loop of, like, wow, how can this person survive like this? And, that's none of my business, none of my concern. But I'm here to talk about, with the way the world is going, with people getting more aggressive, more bold, more, I don't know what's going on, but it seems like, certain type of people are going crazy in the world. And a lot of times they are so comfortable with directing their energy towards the divine feminine woman, people who may seem, soft spoken or not as aggressive. And I want to be able to equip you with information and tactics and different things that I use to keep myself safe out here in the world. All right, so number one, we got to stop thinking of ourselves as cute little dainty things, because we are so much more than that. We are so much powerful than that. Not only are we women, but we are men at the same time. Stay with me here. The name woman, womb man. That means we have both masculine and feminine energies. And it's so important to embody both of those today, because you can't be a woman without being a man. The man has to be your aggressive side, the one that's not afraid to fight, be aggressive, stand up for what you believe in, reassert yourself, reassert your boundaries. And then the woman part is the feminine energy, the part to nurture you, bring you back to your body, say, it's okay. I know that was scary, but we can always come back home to our bodies and breathe, take a bath, shower, get a massage, do our hair, get our nails done, and just be in our bodies. And so to protect ourselves out into the world, it is so important to be fully integrated, to have both of those sides to you, to not just only think you're just like this soft, super girly creature. That's all fun and dandy, but that's not the true embodiment of who we are as women. And I feel like the patriarchy wants to, like, beat the masculine side out of us so that we can be more, more accessible, more easy to get to, more easy for people to take advantage of. But no. And I'm here to say that it is so important to integrate your masculine side. What helped me to wake up my masculine energy, because it definitely was kind of beat it out of me as a child. I always got in trouble for, being assertive and being loud and outspoken. What helped me was reading books about war, to be honest. Reading books about war and just knowing, like, war tactics. I'm not telling y'all to go read about war. But if it helps, you gotta find what works for you. If it helps, then do it. That is one of the most masculine things you can do is read about war, read about strategic stuff, strategic, thinking, strategic uh, tactics, strategic like stuff, and just find a YouTuber who's a man who is very knowledgeable about masculinity, because you need to wake that part of you up. You need to wake it up. Don't let it be dormant. You're not just this like cute little dainty thing that's easy to take advantage of. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be that. And another thing is to repeat yourself. You have to repeat yourself when it comes to aggressive people, because they try to act like you can't, that they try to act like they can't hear you. And they think that you're weak enough that you're not going to repeat yourself. They don't want you to assert yourself. And if you reassert yourself, oh my God, you're intimidating them. I don't care. You're not here to make others feel comfortable. But don't be afraid to reassert yourself. What else helped me tap into my masculine side was to think about my father and where he lacked. So I think about my father. I think about what traits I liked in him, what traits I didn't like in him. And then I tried to integrate the traits that would make him a full embodied man. That way, I'm kind of making up for the lack of the masculinity that my father, may have not instilled in me. So I'm kind of putting together the pieces of where he came up short. And so that really helped me tap into my masculine side. Another thing is working out. Working out helps me tap into my masculine. Working out helps me feel so strong. It helps me to not feel weak. It helps me to feel like I can, fight if I need to. And I know, we'll never fight, but look, worst case scenario is somebody try to come in your house and try to kill you, okay? And that's real life scenario. This is the wild, wild west. What do we call it? Ghetto earth. And you have to know how to defend yourself. Another thing that I'm going to do to tap into my masculinity is go to the gun range. I always wanted to learn how to shoot a gun, go to the gun range. And I used to be afraid of picking up a gun. Like I went to academy and I was holding a gun and I was like, my hand was like shaking. I was like, oh my God, a gun, I'm scared. But, to equip yourself with protection, knives, pepper sprays, guns, that really helps me tap into my masculine side, because it makes me feel like a badass warrior. It makes me feel like, yes, I can protect myself. I don't need to call the police. I don't need this or that. I mean, maybe I will. You never know. But I'm just saying, it makes me feel more masculine in a feminine way as well. And so, with the topic of setting your boundaries, asserting yourself, protecting yourself, I feel like that helps, having just something. I know I get this feeling of sometimes I like to walk around at night, but having my pepper spray or like having like a little pocket knife on me just makes me feel like 10 times more powerful, because I know I'm not afraid to use it, and I feel invincible because I'm like, if something happened, I know I'm going to pepper spray the hell out of somebody. But no, still be careful. And taking precaution is the best protection. I'm not saying go walk around at night like me, that is bold, but taking precaution is the best protection. Thinking ahead to protect yourself. And so another way that I assert my boundaries is by staying unbothered. This is a game changer, y'all. I used to be, easily reactive, but once people see you're unbothered, then they lose all power. A lot of times they stop trying you. They'll be like, oh, she's boring. She doesn't react. She doesn't give away her emotions easily. I'm going to stop trying with her. And a lot of times they just stop. Other times, the crazy people, they get more aggressive. And these people are so desperate. I have met some of the most desperate people ever for my energy that it is so scary. They don't get the hint. You can ghost them. You can disrespect them multiple times, and they still won't get the hint. They still won't get the hint. So I had to be straight up direct and tell this person, I don't want to speak to you anymore or see you anymore. I had to be that direct. And I was like, wow, they finally got the memo. And then I was like, oh my God, thank God I'm still alive. Like, this person got mad when I gave them so many signs that I didn't want them in my life. Also, when I finally told them, set the clearest of clearest boundaries, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to see you. They got mad. They got emotionally reactive. They didn't say, how can I fix myself? What can we do? Do you want to go shopping? Do you need $3,000? They didn't say any of that. They just reacted and got mad and insulted me. Like I was the bad guy for saying what I didn't want. And I was like, oh my God, like if this person has this mindset, just think of how dangerous it was for them to be around me. How dangerous it would have been if I never spoke up for myself. Probably be 6 feet under. That's why it's so important to not only say what you want to these people, but to reiterate your boundaries. Be mean, be bold. Don't be afraid to say what's on your mind. A lot of times I was stuck in this mindset of like, oh, don't say anything because their ego will get bruised and they might try to hurt me. Like, no. You need to say what you need to say. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Because these people are looking, they're actually looking for their mother. They're looking for their mother. They're looking for somebody to be the disciplinarian. They're looking for somebody to bruise their ego. They're looking for somebody to kill their ego so they can kickstart that evolution of being like, maybe I should look within and realize that I need to fix some flaws, as painful as it will be. And some people are so avoidant that nothing else will get them there except the rejection of a woman who is embodied, who has done the inner work. And you know what? I don't like helping these people. I'm going to be honest with you. These people don't deserve for me to help them. So you know what I do? I don't help them whatsoever. A lot of times, okay, so it is good to be honest, but a lot of times I am coldly honest. I'm not authentically honest with these people because I don't want to be the result. I don't want to do the labor it takes for them to evolve because nobody's going to help you get to that next level emotionally. So why would I make this awful person who's unconscious, not aware of the behaviors, why would I help them emotionally evolve? I'm not their mother. I'm not a caretaker. I'm not a kindergartner teacher. And so I know a lot of level up coaches, they recommend that you do this for the next woman. So this man can be more equipped, more emotionally aware for the next woman. I totally disagree. Leave people where they are. Leave people where they are because they got no disregard. They have no regards for you to help you get to the next level, especially if they're stingy, especially if they want to give you less and take more. Do not help them. I am so cold with these people. I don't give them a reaction. I give them a blank face. I don't tell them my inner thoughts. I don't tell them what I think of them. I was just so clear. I pretty much ghosted. They didn't get the memo. So I told them, I don't want to talk to you or see you again. Boom. That's it. No emotion whatsoever. They blew up like a freaking bomb. And I love to see it. I love to see it because if you are the opposite of me and I'm the one, who's in my center and then you react, guess who won? Woo, woo, woo. And I used to not be about win or lose, but I've been at such a disadvantage for so long that I'm now keeping score of where I am on the spectrum of evolving compared to where other people are. And if I'm like, okay, I'm here, you're there, Okay, yeah, I see. On to the next. But it is so important to keep your energy to yourself, because if you are there telling this person, you did this and I didn't really like that, and I think you can improve here. No, 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 no. That's giving away your energy. That's giving away your your therapy. Like, you just turned into a therapist. You just turned into a healer. You just turned into a leader. No, 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 no. No. No, 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 no. Tell them what you want, period. Don't tell them their flaws. If they're not willing to do that, you leave. If they're not leaving, they don't get the memo, say, I don't want to see you anymore. Period. That's how we're moving 2026. No emotion. No emotion to people who want to take and not give. They don't deserve that. We need to treat people how they deserve. Period. And I'm so proud of myself for being, you know, emotionally unreactive. It took me so much to get here. It took me so much. And I will be gosh darned if somebody who's trying to take me down is the one who brings me down to that level. No, 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 no. It took me so much time, energy, effort, tears, sweat, blood to get here. And I'm going to stand here for the longest, for the longest. And it's so insulting, that somebody like that will come and thinks they can conquer Mount Everest over here when they haven't even walked a mile. Crazy work, crazy work. So yeah, say what you want, say what you need, set your boundaries, but don't help people who just want to take from you. No, no. This isn't we are operating from a matriarch, not a patriarch. Patriarch is like, helping everybody, even the ones who don't deserve. No, matriarch is cutthroat. You not giving to me, I won't give to you, period. And it feels good. It feels good to be this way. You're conserving energy. You have more energy for yourself, your passions. You're moving on to the next fast, quick, in a hurry. And it feels good. I feel like nowadays it is kind of rare for people to be like self-fulfilled, and that's what you are. If you've done the inner work, if you leveled up inside and out, if you don't seek validation like most people, if you put yourself first, your mind, body, soul, look good, nourish your health, nourish your body, nourish your soul, eat healthy, exercise, journal, all of that good stuff, positive affirmations, fill yourself with healthy things, you're gonna stand out. You're gonna be like a moth to a flame. And it can be a little dangerous, especially in the world today with people really lacking those qualities and not wanting to put in the work to be the best version of themselves, and having everything so easily handed to them. And they don't want to cook, they want to get DoorDash, they don't want to exercise, they want to watch you exercise while they eat popcorn, they don't want to fill themselves up with positive thoughts, they want to just take. And so, as a leveled up woman, as a woman who's working on themselves, giving yourself everything, giving yourself the self-love, it's definitely interesting because it shows you the type of environments that you should be in. And in order to avoid a lot of people like this, you have to make sure you level up in the beginning, like in your 20s. If I could do college all over again, I would have never majored in communications. I would have thought, like, what kind of rooms do I want to be in the future? What type of people do I want to avoid? And what is the major that would put myself at such a high level to where I don't have to deal with the low vibrationalness of the world? And I think that's all about, protecting yourself as a woman. A lot of people's parents, they set them up so well to where they don't have to go into certain jobs, be around certain people. And now I see why a lot of people, protect their daughters from being in certain environments and from around certain people. So, if I could do it all over again, I'd go to school to be a doctor, a lawyer, just so I won't have to, subjugate myself to certain behaviors and certain rooms of people. Because it's funny, because I don't see myself as being like successful currently. I don't see myself as being like, you know, amazing in a certain area of my life. I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still very much like not where I want to be. But when you're like the most shiniest thing in the room and then everyone's trying to like, siphon your energy, that is such a disadvantage for you as a woman who's trying to level up. Because once you start doing your real inner work, from the outside, it's going to look like you have everything. And to other people, you do have everything. But to you, you can't go out and, you know, move to Hawaii and buy a nice car. You don't have everything, like logically. But to these people, energetically, oh, you got the stuff that they want for sure. And it's kind of hard seeing how others see you because you don't see yourself that way. And so this is where it really gets like weird because you're seeing yourself as a work in progress, somebody who needs to elevate themselves to get to the next level, and people are already seeing you as the end all be all in certain environments because most people in the environments that you may be in, trying to work yourself to get to the next level where you should be, where you want to be, a lot of people don't have the same ambition, or maybe they see that you might be going somewhere where they're complacent, and so they're going to try to grab onto that, hold your leg and be like, hey, stay here with us, don't go anywhere. And then I'm like, let go of me. I love that little meme. But y'all, it is so important. Girls in your 20s, if you're in college right now, don't major in something cute if you're not already rich. Don't major in something that is not going to guarantee you six figures within 5 years out of college. Something that's not going to give you a position of authority. Like, just be cautious about what you major in. You have to think logically to set yourself up. Like, the world today is like insane. Like, it is becoming so savage to where it's not even safe to major in something that you love to do if it's not going to give you enough money to support yourself, because money is protection. Not only setting your boundaries, but having enough money to walk away. Money is everything for a feminine woman. Money will keep you from, putting yourself in situations that are potentially dangerous. Money will give you the ability to feel grounded and safe and protected. Money will give you the ability to say, no, excuse me, bye, walk away. And I wish I would have known that in my 20s, because I just always thought like, oh, I'll make do with whatever I do. I just thought money would just naturally flow regardless if I was doing this or that. But, it's not true. And I think that, I'm not saying that the entire world is like this. I'm just speaking from my experience from, I did quit a stressful job and then I started going into other jobs like, personal fitness training, bakery. But I mean, you're going to deal with a little bit of this at every job, at every level of the level up. However, it won't be as prevalent the higher you go. But I've dealt with the lowest of the low, so I know. I know how to deal with, your boundaries being crossed and people not listening to what you say, people projecting their insecurities onto you, people trying to bring you down to a level that you can't even comprehend. I've dealt with this firsthand, and it's gave me so much clarity of where I want to be, how I want to be treated, how I want to set up my life for the future, and if I have children, what I want them to avoid, the type of environments I want them to avoid, the type of people I want them to avoid. And it just has given me so much clarity. And, you know, I remember back when I was clueless about the world, and I began going out in my own city, starting in New Orleans. And I'm not gonna lie, I got a little shook just from meeting so many different types of people. Yo, I met people on the streets. I met people who were like lawyers, doctors. I met just all kind of people in New Orleans. You know, good, bad, great, low level, high level, and I just treated them all with respect because I wasn't thinking on like the hierarchy scale. I was always, kind of raised to just accept everyone and treat people how you want to be treated. But you have to not think like that. You can't be the only one out here thinking like that when everybody else is like, trying to get to the top, trying to use people for a come up. So it does help as a feminine level up woman to be more strategic, to, not be so ingrained with like a hierarchy scale, but to know what it takes to get to the next level, know who will help you get there, know what you can do and where you can utilize your energy towards to get there. And it's all about staying unbothered, non-reaction, because the less reaction you give, they can't grasp onto anything. They can't pull you down. You're not entangling your emotions. And another thing I want to talk about is the way these people will keep on trying to get you to engage in a fight with them. This is the most annoying because it's almost like a little fly buzzing in your ear. You just try to swat it away and the fly keeps coming back and you try to swat it away. And so the funny thing is, when these people try to get a reaction out of me, they won't stop. They'll keep trying, just keep being unbothered. I'm like yawning, like, okay, let's just move on. And it's funny because um, it's funny because when you consistently stay unbothered, the more they'll start to blow up and go crazy and try to assert all this energy at you. And I just laugh. I have to laugh because I'm like, wow, look how emotionally dysregulated this person is. And I'm like, oh, I thank God. This is why I journal. This is why I did the shadow workbook journal. This is why I went to therapy. This is why I meditate. And it's kind of like looking in the mirror at your opposite. It's kind of like looking on the other side of like, wow, you are good. I mean, saying, wow, you are who I could have been if I didn't do the inner work, if I didn't put myself first. And what I'm looking at, I don't like it. And so it makes me proud because it shows me how far I have come when I was emotionally reactive, when it used to be easy to get me all riled up and, upset and cry. And, it started in my household with my brother and sister teasing me because I was the youngest, making me cry, trying to hog all the fried chicken from Popeyes. And I would just cry. And I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of glad that this behavior kind of started in my household because it's made me like so stronger. It's made me so much stronger, and it made me realize how emotionally reactive I was and how giving up my energy I was. So I kind of started early with dealing with these types of people who try to get you all riled up and get emotional reactions out of you. And staying unbothered feels so good. It's like you keep your center, and it's like they're all like dancing around, trying to get you off your path, trying to get a reaction out of you, and you're just there like, I see what you're doing. It's cute, but no, thank you. And sometimes I just look at them with like the blankest face. Sometimes I just look at them with the blankest face because I feel nothing. I feel nothing towards a person who is consistently trying to get a reaction out of me by just causing chaos. And like I said, it's like an annoying fly that keeps buzzing in your ear. And I don't know what gives them such the strength and motivation to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. But it gets entertaining after a while. Oh, and another thing I wanted to talk about, I was thinking about this when I was laying in my bed last night. I was thinking like people have been trying to get, a reaction out of me for so long. Y'all, this behavior has been going on since I was in kindergarten, since I can remember. I've been singled out. I've been bullied. I've been, focused on to be the one that people can get a reaction out of. It started in family, high school, college, and it made me think. In public, just going out in public, people try to get my attention. And it made me think, y'all, and I finally found the answer. So, I consider myself a true receiver. I feel everything. I feel, raw emotions. I have undercurrents of energy within me that I can tap into. And I was thinking, like, I don't know, I kind of just placed myself like in this position of how things were like long ago, before the way our society is, before the patriarchy. I was thinking like, what were women like me like? How were they treated? And I was thinking something intuitive came over me, and I was like, they were huge receivers of energy. And so I got this intuitive download that these women received offerings from people. People would see them and they would offer them gifts, maybe offerings or whatever it was. But they gave them value because that's what the woman embodied, just inherent value, inherent beauty, inherent divineness. And people had no choice but to give to her because it was like a moth to a flame. And so I was thinking like, people are giving me free energy just from me existing. I remember I used to be in a room surrounded by girls in my dance class, in my performing arts school, and I was quiet, just like the other girls. I wasn't making an effort to stand out at all. I was in a room with other girls, just like me, same age, same looks, whatever. And I would still get singled out by more aggressive girls. I would still get emotionally bullied. And I didn't do anything. And I was like, okay, this is like real. Like this isn't in my head that I'm doing something to make people come at me like this. And so I was thinking like, people are all giving me offerings. And in this day and age in the patriarchy, it may look like they're, they're giving you energy in the form of aggression, emotional dysregulation, because they haven't, this is a new day and age. People have been taught to, that certain people are better than others, and maybe, everybody wants the woman to like give, which is not the natural flow of things. And so I was like, because I'm embodied within my energy, in my natural flow, people are naturally giving me energy, just free energy, whether it's good, bad, whether it's disrespectful, whether it's like dismissive of my needs. They're literally giving me energy. And this happens everywhere I go. And so, as an alchemist, what I can do is that every time somebody gives me energy, it comes in the form of gifts, money. I have to utilize this energy and be able to transmute this energy to materialize it in this 3D patriarchal society to benefit me every single time. Because this is just such a waste of energy that they're giving you to try to bring you down or fill some type of void. I don't know. People are unconscious out here. And so I have to be the bigger one, the more responsible adult here to say, hey, this is free energy. How can I utilize this? And sometimes I'll naturally absorb the energy if I like it. If I like it, if the person is like ambitious and I kind of admire them and they're trying to engage with me and I'm not really into, giving away my energy, I like subconsciously absorb their energy to use it for later. But, if you're just out into the world and people are like trying to get your attention, trying to give you energy, you got to use that as fuel, even if you don't like it. I'm not saying embody and take on their actual energy, but I'm saying you can pocket that and use it for abundance somewhere else. So that's what I wanted to say. I just wanted to equip you girls with some tips on what to expect out here now that the world is changing, how to protect yourself, how to assert your boundaries, how to, utilize the energy that's coming towards you for your benefit. And don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Repeat what you said, write it down, text it out, scream it out loud and shout, and don't be afraid to walk away.